Smart 24, driving business.
Yes, good morning and welcome back from that lovely break. It is Smart Means Business and my name is Falda Chiramu. Now, of course, it's Friday and the week is coming down, the first week of February, and there is a lot of energy that is going on, as well as businesses, the seasonal businesses that are kickstarting and preparing for the next week of Valentine's, which is so going to see a boost in a lot of businesses. However, we do have a lot to talk about on Smart Means Business, and that is simply talking about some factors of production and how they can be able to best suit business to grow. For example, there are a number of factors of production, such as means of production, technology, tools, raw materials, infrastructure, but my big emphasis is going to be on the human force or the human labor, because any other business that is running every other day needs humans to be able to run it. It needs people to run the tools and the machinery. It needs all entrepreneurial skills or ventures need people to work with them, and that is simply talking to our managers or our people, our bosses. Some of us are bosses ourselves in our businesses, and you're probably wondering why there is a number of labor turnover in your entity due to a number of factors. Well, it simply comes down to management as well as other things, specifically of human labor, because they are the biggest force of driver or the biggest driver of production, leave alone capital and all the other things. So when we talk about human capital development for business, we see that a number of people end up ignoring how much this force can lead or can build or break a business. So a little bit about maybe human capital development. It refers to the process of improving employees' skills, knowledge, abilities, and overall well-being to enhance productivity and business performance. And it includes education, training, health, motivation, and work experience. Now, most cases when you are running a business, you may have a lot of employees, but having a required set of skills. But at the end of the day, you come to notice that the productivity is low, or the kind of work that you need to be done is not done to your satisfaction. So it all goes down to continuous education, training, and motivation of the workers that you have at the end of the day, you know. And this could be seen as if you see that your workers are probably going through a phase of demotivation, you could look into taking them for retreats. You know, there is a lot of seasons around the year that need to be taken up by a number of people. Let's take a look at the end of the year of 2024, for example. There was a lot of end of year parties, and a lot of people were motivated to work during that time because they knew that at the end of the day, there was going to be a reward system for it, right? So that is the same kind of energy that you should have throughout the year, because at the end of the day, it is good to show the statistics that your business is growing, but when we look down to smaller factors such as the quality and the skills the workers you have possess, that could be something that is probably limiting the amount of money you're bringing in, or the quality of goods you're putting out to the rest of the world. So maybe when I talk about this, some people may ask themselves why it matters for business growth. First of all, businesses grow when their employees become more skilled, efficient, and innovative. If you are in a workspace, you need to be able to give the workers the feel and the platform so that they can be able to be innovative, right? Most of the times when you look at management, business management, it is one thing to be a business head, but it is another thing to be a manager of your business and the whole building build of your business. And in most cases, most people do lack the leadership skills. And that is simply one of the reasons as to why their businesses are not flourishing, because they fail to have the basics, right? The effective communication with their workers, things like that can give them the space that they can be able to grow in and flourish and be innovative and the whole lot. And when we talk about this day and age, when it comes to generational differences, there is this whole talk on social media about differences in generation, such as the millennials and the Gen Zs. Now, when we come to the workspace alone, this is something that is challenging, because they continuously talk about the younger generation having a lot of creative ideas and the fact that they are new in the space, but then they are faced with a lot of opposition from the older people who actually think they know it all. Well, I do believe that they know it all. Maybe they do not know it all, but to a particular extent they do, basing off their experience. But you need to give room to the new people to also give you some ideas that you can be able to execute to be able to build your business or to let it grow. Let us be reminded that business is something that is different. It is a different entity from yourself. So if you are a leader or you have a leadership role in a company, and one of the issues you have as a person is taking things personal, then it's bound to affect you and your whole business, because every other time this young person or this Gen Z brings up an idea of, let me say, let's digitalize everything. Recently when you look at social media platforms, there's a lot of interesting content when it comes to marketing, especially when it comes to restaurants. You'll be seeing the people who serve doing a lot just to get the attention of the media, or to get the attention of the public, and they do it through doing a lot of funny TikToks that can be able to sell them. And when you open these TikToks and look at the comment sections, people are actually interested in going to those places to eat. Let's take a look at Golden Hill Restaurant. It is one of the biggest creators in the space of restaurants on social media. So if a young person comes in your space and tells you that probably something that could create for us awareness for our business is the liberty of embracing or harnessing social media and doing a little bit of this and that so that people get to know about us, create some brand awareness. Some people may take it to heart, because I've seen it a lot when it comes to the grown-ups, the millennials and the other people, the other grown-ups that we found in the workspace. They do not even want to hear the mention of TikTok. But it's absurd, because the app is already here, and the only way that you can be able to leverage it for yourself is to actually give it a shot. You would be shocked that you're probably likely to make more sales off this social media platform than other things that you can do. And one thing I've heard over time about business and the human capital resource is the fact that if you're good at something, and this was actually said that by Vuzi Thembekwayo at when he came to Uganda by a private sector foundation last year. And he said that if you're good at something, if you're an entrepreneur and you can see that you are a creator, you have a vision for something, do not die learning everything that is required for it to happen. For example, if you are a big person in let me say content creation, because that is a space that comes easy for me, content creation, and you need someone to you want to be able to put out work, you need to be able to give some other people a little bit of employment by giving them the work that you've recorded to edit it for you. That way you don't have to learn everything, because time is money. You can use the time to actually keep researching what you're going to be putting out to the public, whereas someone else can be able to help you edit, someone else helps you record. So in this way, you are creating a little bit of employment for other people, and you also you do not have to learn everything, because I know they say knowledge is power, but a lot of it, too much of anything, is always bad. Plus, it will only slow down your efficiency and how fast you are getting work done. So let's be reminded that a well-developed workforce leads to increased productivity. The fact that all the workers are empowered, they feel valued, of course they are going to increase their productivity. There is going to be better decision making, because people are continuously talking to each other about a number of things. If there is some idea generation and people do not agree with it, then of course there will be alternatives that will be taken up, or some that will be foregone. Of course, there is improved customer service and high profitability. The fact that there is high productivity, the fact that there is better decision making, there will be a lot of sales to be made at the end of the day, which will lead to increased or higher productivity rate. Now, when we look at the current landscape in Uganda, Uganda has a young and fast growing population, but many businesses struggle with a skills gap between education and job market demands. Let's take a look at some of the people who just graduated earlier this year, January, the Makerere University graduates, right? There is a number of them who are already not employed, and whereas there is a number that is employed. But again, there is the issue of the fact that we have studied, and there is a lot of people getting out of school, but then the jobs are limited, and at the end of the day, the jobs that people are getting are actually way different from what they studied. So there is that skill gap that is actually leading to low productivity of workers. And if this weakness is harnessed by a company, and everyone they take in is actually given a little bit of training of what is required in the field, and not just training, but closely monitored training, where you actually be able to tell that someone's output is giving off. That way, at least the gap in Uganda's economy when it comes to skill development and education for the job market, as well as that of education, is covered, or the gap is bridged, then I do believe that there will be a lot of job creators at the end of the day than job seekers, right? And of course, the market demands will have better and sufficient labor to rely on. Because let's be honest, there is a number of vast young people, or even grown-ups who don't have, a lot of older people who don't have jobs, and they are complaining about unemployment, yet they do not, or they lack the required skills of the job that they're looking at. Why? Because they're taking a sit back, relying on a bachelor's degree they got, a master's degree they got, and they lack the skills, the actual physical skills to show for it. And that is why when you see a number of us going into interviews, we actually don't end up not getting the jobs, because we are all about talk. There is no work done. At the end of the day, the people on the panel actually know who is best suiting them. And that is why maybe if you've been a person who has been going continuously for interviews and not getting it, that could probably be the reason as to why you are not yet employed at the moment. So what you would look into doing is actually sitting down and realizing the space that you want to be in, and specifically tailoring a set skill or a skill set that will best suit that role, so that anytime anyone needs a videographer, anytime anyone needs an IT person, you are the go-to person that they will need. Now, when we look at Uganda's economy as well, there is a lot of unemployment despite job availability. And of course, this also comes down to the set skill. These days, let's take a look at an example of COVID-19. When that issue came about, a lot of workers were laid off due to, excuse me, let's go for a brief break and we'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back from that break. And I was earlier saying that when we take a look at the COVID-19 period, a lot of workers were laid off simply because they weren't cross-functional enough. These days, if you are in the job market and you want to stand out and even want to get a job, you must be willing to be a cross-functional worker. If you are currently doing something in accounts, you should be able to do something in IT as well. You should be able to do something in HR's department as well. That is the possibility of the only way that you can be able to be held back. Now, a lot of workers were laid off because they were simply serving one role that could be served by someone else who is already in the company. So probably the high unemployment in Uganda's economy, despite the job availability, is caused due to some things. Some people love to just, when it comes to centralizing yourself, okay, and being that you're going to say that you're only good at IT, then make sure that you're the best there is, right? So that when it comes to such a time of laying off workers, because we can never say never, we've seen it happen before, you must be willing to show that you are someone who is so valuable that you cannot be let go of. And of course, looking at Uganda's space, many of us tend to only specialize in what we studied or what we are actually working on. If you find someone in accounts, that is all they would care to know. So at the end of the day, when such issues come about, God forbid COVID-19 repeating itself, but you'll see that a number of people will be laid off because at the end of the day, companies do not have the resources to pay people because they're also being hit by this depression that was hit by the whole globe at large. Now, when we look at Uganda's economy and why the human capital development for business is still low, is because of the limited investment in employee training and well-being. There is this issue where companies tend to take on workers. At the end of the day, I do believe that if you are a business owner and you are in a managerial skill, it shouldn't just end at you employing someone because you believe that they've passed an interview or that they qualify because of the paperwork they've shown you. Otherwise, you are the face of the business at the end of the day. You are the vision bearer of the business, and along the way, you have gotten people who believe in your vision, so they want to work with you. But they need to be told what to do. They need to actually be told how it is supposed to be done. Much as they already have a lot of knowledge, you need to cut it down to exactly what is best for your business. So the best way you can do that is to continuously train your workers. There is a number of workspaces that you see that at least every quarter a year, that is in every 3 months, they actually break off and go for a retreat. They go for they have usual meetings where they do some training as well as just equipping the workers with new knowledge. You know, trends change. And if you're someone in business, I'm sure you would be knowing something like this because trends change every day. Like, take a look at the US and the support we had not long ago, but now we don't. So what next? So that should be the same issue with your business, you know. And when we look at this, I think one space that has embraced it is the teaching sector of Uganda's economy. This sector is always having a lot of trainings and workshops. Maybe because the curriculum is changing every other day, but they've harnessed the fact that that is something that they need to do in order to be able to give the best knowledge to the end consumers, the end consumers being the students. So if you're a business person and this is something that you're also doing, it could not necessarily be teaching, but one way you can evaluate the qualities of your workers is by giving them the education that they need to best serve the vision of your company as a vision bearer. And also at the end of the day, their well-being matters because health is wealth. If you have workers who are possibly having a lot of health issues, there is going to be low productivity, there is going to be low innovative levels, and there is, of course, going to be a lot of losses in the company because there is no efficiency of the workers. So being that they are one of the factors of production of your business, then you must be able to ascertain that their well-being is paramount so that they can be able to give you the things that you need back, right? And when we look at some key components of the human capital development, of course, we've continuously talked about education and training. But of course, this is the process of acquiring new knowledge and skills through formal education, schools and universities. However, you have to include professional training. Look into getting those people who are big in the space that you're in so that they can be able to share a word or two to the people you have employed. Then someone may ask how this would impact the business. Of course, employees with up-to-date skills perform better and they are more innovative and they adapt quickly to industry changes. In case the government brings in a number of changes in a specific sector, workers will be able to adapt quickly because they've been learning over time, because they have this new knowledge that helps them adapt quickly to other forms of change. Now, of course, there is up-to-date skills, and they perform better because they are oftenly put into this vigorous activity that requires them to learn new things every other day. And of course, I would think that maybe this is why it was easy to be a student than an adult, simply because there was a lot of monitoring that was happening then. Every other day you had tests to make sure that you have understood what has been being told. Every other day you have end of term exams, beginning of term exams, right? But we're not doing the same for our businesses. Why? Because we have this mindset that business is supposed to be chill. It's supposed to be giving back. I don't know. It's supposed to be just bringing in money, and that's just it. But at the end of the day, you must be willing to learn. You must be willing to learn. That's the truth, because times change, trends change, and if you're not willing to learn, of course, people will leave you behind. And you wake up one day and look at your business and evaluate what caused this failure, and it won't be anyone but you, of course. Now, we've continuously talked about employee well-being and engagement. Okay, employee well-being, I've talked about that, but engagement. We have an issue as business owners where we tend to think that everything about the business should revolve around what we think. Well, there is a reason why I believe you employed workers, so that they can be able to also give you a perspective. Now, you'd be shocked that some workers actually have a lot of information to do with something better than the vision bearer of it, right? And when I say something like this, it makes me think about this book by Robert Greene called 48 Laws of Power. And the first law is, do not outshine your master. And with that, it says that if someone teaches you something, do not, when you're in public, do not outshine them to show them that you know better, right? And when I look at employee engagement, it kind of embodies that whole mantra, because at the end of the day, an employee will be an employee and a boss will be a boss. So credit will always be taken by the boss, even when the employees are the ones doing the most, right? So of course, I'll look at this in a way that if you are a boss and you are sure that you are having these employees who are brainstorming a lot, I would think that this should be your side people, so that they can be able to tell you something that you could be able to do different, you know. At the end of the day, there will be growth, and growth won't be just to you as a person, but or to them as people, but to the whole vision of your business that you had in the start. So look into embracing a lot of feedback from your employees, and also engaging them in ways that can be able to that will be productive to the business, of course. Not all engagements are actually beneficial. Now, looking at that, of course, with the continuous teaching of education and training of the human resource, there will be digital and technological skills developed, and these will give them the ability to use digital tools and software and platforms to improve business processes. And of course, in Uganda's economy, I hope that is something that is growing in most workspaces, given that we do have a lot of there is now things like crypto. There is a number of Ugandans who even don't know about crypto. There is a lot of technological advancements. You will find that there is a number of people in Uganda's economy in this day and age who have studied and they still don't know how to even compose an email, and you've probably employed someone like this. But at the end of the day, you do not know, because you do not, at your company, you do not have a formal means of communication. Probably it's just mouth to mouth. but you're going to have to network and make deals, and someone will ask you to send them an email, and none of your employees knows how to send an email. Funny as that sounds, we are in Uganda's economy, which so happens to be a third world country, and I assure you, there are businesses like that. So if you're someone in this business, you don't even need to take your workers back to school. Just sit them down and teach them how to write an email, right? And moving forward again, we see some of the ways of growing the human capital for better productivity. There should be the aspect of leadership development, which includes training and mentoring employees to take on leadership roles within that company, right? And how does this impact on businesses? Now, strong leaders create high-performing teams that make strategic decisions and drive long-term business success. Now, when you look at leadership, most of us actually don't know the impact of leadership on business growth and development. If you are a poor leader or a leader with poor skills, you are very autocratic, you are narcissistic, of course, people are going to, these are some of the things that end up causing labor turnover. You're not willing to listen to anything that your employees have to say. Of course, what will that do? It is going to make them leave the business. So the fact that there is a little bit of leadership development with the workers themselves, this is going to give them the sense of responsibility that they're also valued by the company, so that they can be able to take part in decision making and just be able to push each other to motivate each other to do daily work. Now, the article says that strong leaders create high-performing teams. I would love to give a lot of examples, but I won't get into the personal details. But if you have a great team and all of them possess leadership skills, that means that they are going to grow. They are going to grow as a team. You are all going to grow as a team, because at the end of the day, there is no I in team. We all did this work together, and that is why we have attained this. But you look at some companies, and there is actually an aspect of I, where every time the boss asks who did this, it's always that one person who did it. And this makes the other workers feel like they're actually not doing anything. So if you're looking into growing people, this will also help you get to know your workers on a deeper level. Get to give them leadership roles and see how they execute them. And if they don't execute them that well, then you should be willing to train them so that they can be able to drive your long-term business to success. Now, when we take a look at a real-world example of this, we see Stanbic Uganda's skills development programs, and Stanbic Uganda runs skills training programs to equip young entrepreneurs with business management and financial literacy skills. That usually happens at the Stanbic Business Incubator, and they don't only do that, but they also connect young people or young entrepreneurs or innovators to potential investors. Now, of course, we have a lot of young people who are probably coming up with a lot of apps, probably inventing, I've attended this and I got to see people making a lot of oils out of avocado oil, people are making a lot of things. So, of course, if you're a young person out there, this is just a side note, and you're probably already developing something that you need people to help you, or you need someone to hold your hand and probably give you some money to continue with your dream, then you should look into visiting the Stanbic Incubator. Now, of course, they equip young people with business management. I earlier said that having a business is different from managing it. And you could probably have a business that has the potential to grow, but your lack of management skills is what will be able to break is what will definitely break your business, right? And of course, financial literacy skills. A number of these days, businesses are coming down, or let's take a look at Uganda's economy. They say 70% of small scale and intermediary businesses do not last the third year of since they were started. Why? Because sometimes some people lack financial literacy, and actually the government of Uganda, I would say that around 2017 they reached out to the Youth Livelihood Fund, and they gave out a lot of loans to young people to start businesses. But at the end of the day, most of these people did not pay back the loans that they were given. Yeah, because why? The businesses failed to run. And I would say this also to young people who are out there. If you're looking into getting into the employment skill, learning financial literacy should be a must. Because some of us are financially literate. We do not know how to handle money. You see young people these days living off the mantra of life is short. The minute they get their salary, it is over and done within that weekend, and then they're going to do what for the next 1 month? They're going to get into loans, they're going to borrow money here and there, just so that they can be able to facilitate their lives. These are the days where you also see a lot of people living a fake lifestyle, just so that they can be able to impress the world, and forgetting what financial literacy is. We're ending up putting ourselves in positions that are compromising because we lack financial knowledge. We lack financial knowledge, and it is as easy as that. Even sometimes business owners, I said earlier, their businesses come to a fail because they lack financial literacy. Some people tend to take money out of the business and use it for personal use. And at the end of the day, when the business shuts down, they'll point the fingers to the employees. Why? Because they believe they're the reason why the business failed. Anyway, moving forward, this has led to increased entrepreneurship and job creation. That is a Stanbic incubator. However, moving forward again, we do have an example of people who actually, another case study of a company who provides a lot of entrepreneurship skills and management skills to young people, and that is Safaricom's Employee Wellbeing Initiative, and that is in Kenya. Now, Safaricom provides mental health support, flexible work policies, and continuous training for employees, and this has resulted into a motivated workforce and increased customer satisfaction. And another case study is looking at tech startups in Uganda, and many Ugandan startups invest in digital skills training for employees. Companies like Safe Border offer a lot of platforms for business growth and development. And businesses should encourage employees to take online courses in relevant fields. Implementing employee development programs, regular workshops, mentorship programs, and leadership training should be part of the company's strategy. Now, of course, my call to action as we come to a conclusion of this segment would be that investing in human capital leads to higher productivity, innovation, and business success. And businesses should prioritize training, well-being, and leadership development of their workers, and invest in skills. This is on the side of employees and employers. Employers should invest in skills development and employee well-being, whereas employees should take the initiative to learn the new skills and seek growth opportunities. The employers could probably give you what you need, but as employees, maybe we choose to be big-headed and choose to look the other way because we believe we already have what it takes to be a valuable employee. So on the side of employees, take initiative to learn new skills and seek growth opportunities. And a final thought would be, a company is only strong as its people. The more you invest in human capital, the more you secure the future for your business. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in to this segment of Smart Means Business. Let's go for a brief break, and we shall be back with Andrew Barije taking you through the top of the hour. Stay tuned.